All right, joining us today on the show is U.S. Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Congressman Kinzinger, thank you for speaking with me.
You bet. Good to be here.
Well, you are co-sponsoring a bill that would authorize 4,000 new SIVs or Special Immigrant Visas to help protect our Iraqi and Afghan allies. As someone who was stationed in Iraq, tell me how important this legislation is in helping those who put targets on their backs to help us.
Yeah, this is really important. And, you know, one of the big things when we go to war, and I think we have to understand that this country will be at war again sometime in the future, is being able to have the local population on our side. And part of that, obviously a main issue of that, is to ensure that we can speak the language of the population. And most people don't speak, Pashtun or any of the native languages. So we recruit a lot of people that are natives to come be the translators, and we promise them an opportunity to chase the American dream afterwards. If you're going to put your life on the line with American soldiers, you need to have that. And that's been slowed up in the bureaucracy and in politics. And so basically, since I've been out here, it's been a push to continue to make sure that these folks that had promises made get to experience a kept promise. And it's not just the right thing to do for these folks, but the next time we are in an armed conflict, which will happen at some point, we need to make sure that people know that we follow through on our word. So hopefully this gets fixed up and done, and we can move on and tackle some other issues out here.
I want to talk Mueller because he did not go quietly. Some could say it was strategic, making a statement while Congress was on recess, let it breathe a little. But what ended up happening, even though he said he had nothing further to say outside of what was in his report, people are now dissecting his statement. I don't see this going away. What do you think is next?
I don't think it's going to go away because I think the Democrats had a narrative for 2 years of the president's corrupt, the president obstructed justice, he colluded with Russia, and they had put all their eggs in the Mueller basket. When Mueller comes out and says there was no collusion, we're going to leave obstruction to basically out there to be questioned and to be debated by Congress, it took a lot of the winds out of the sail of the impeachment train. And so they're trying to grasp straws on anything they can. I always think nobody's above the law. That's very important. So, but to say that this is now an impeachable offense, when the initial thing was brought up on the issue of did he collude with a foreign power like Russia, and unequivocally the answer was no. This is a political issue now, and the Democrats are going to have to own whether they choose to impeach or not. And unfortunately, I think they're going to push forward. There's a lot of work we have to do out here, and they seem to be mired down in this narrative now, and that's a choice that they have to make as the majority.
And you mentioned impeachment. Democrats are continuing on this path of impeachment of President Trump. And according to a recent poll done by CNN, 54% don't feel he should be impeached and removed. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think that's not a surprise to me. It was the same thing when the Republicans made a mistake and impeached President Clinton. The public looks at this and says, look, if the president makes massive violations of the law, then of course he should be impeached. But in this case, where there was no accusation of a violation of the law, and it is obviously a political move, were there some improper things done? Of course. There's stuff that we've been very clear about. But to say now this moves to basically negating the will of the American people to make Donald Trump their president is a bridge too far in many people's imagination. And so I look at it and go, it's going to be a political issue now. And if the Democrats go down this path, I think it's going to ensure Trump's reelection.
Now, talks of impeachment and Mueller have been the focus of some members of Congress. What would you like to see that focus shift to?
I think there's so many things we can be working on out here. It's budget season, so that's going to take a lot of our focus over the next couple months, a way to get some bipartisan things done. Figuring out how much to spend, so we have to have a spending caps deal. We're going to come up against the debt limit. That could be detrimental to the economy if that's not handled. There's things like infrastructure that need to be taken care of. Immigration reform. I'm still a believer that we can actually get a reform deal done sometime that isn't all of what one side wants, but would actually fix the problem. And not to mention, obviously, opioid crisis and all these things that are continuing. If we get focused on the wrong issues, it'll be a sad opportunity to I think, get some bipartisan things done, all in the name of just politics.
Congressman Kinzinger, thank you.
You bet. Take care.